Okay, hello to another evening live reading. If you are watching this later on, feel free to comment and make a comment with a request. I love taking on new poetry. I do ask that it's public domain, just so that I don't get in trouble with anybody. Unless, if you're the author or something, then by all means, as long as I've got permission. But I don't want to read somebody's writing if they don't like want me to. So anyway, so here we go on YouTube Live and on um, TikTok Live, kind of doing the both kind of a thing. Um, so I will start out with Mary Oliver and Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Mary Oliver, Wild Geese. Here's another one by Mary Oliver, Backyard. I had no time to haul out the dead stuff, so it hung limp or dry wherever the wind swung it, over or down or across. All summer it stayed that way, untrimmed and thickened. The paths grew damp and uncomfortable and mossy until nobody could get through but a mouse or a shadow. Blackberries, ferns, leaves, litter, totally without direction, management, supervision. The birds loved it. Backyard by Mary Oliver. Scott, hello. How are you doing tonight? Yeah, so if you have a poetry request, I'm happy to consider it. Some are too long, some are too gory, too sexual, whatever. So I don't always do every single one, but certainly I try to do the vast majority of requests. So definitely drop a request and I'll see what I can do. Let's see. When I am reading poetry, my favorite app is my poet or Poetry Foundation. That's my favorite one. And then I like All Poetry is another one. Okay. Yeah, Where the Sidewalk Ends. That is Shel Silverstein. It's a pretty short one. I think I could do that. Let's see. Okay. This is a place where the sidewalk ends and before the street begins. And there the grass grows soft and white. And there the sun burns crimson bright. And there the moonbird rests from his flight to cool in the peppermint wind. Let us leave this place where the smoke blows black and the dark street winds and bends. Past the pits where the asphalt flowers grow, we shall walk with a walk that is measured and slow. and catch where the chalk white arrows go to the place where the sidewalk ends. Yes, we'll walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and we'll go where the chalk white arrows go. For the children they mark and the children they know the place where the sidewalk ends. That's Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. What's going on, everybody? Um, Eternal Evolutions. You told me your name last time, but tell me again so I can uh, call you by your name. Amanda. Okay, okay. You bet, Scott. That's a good one. That's a good one. What's up, Joe? Are you back? Are you still in North Carolina? Or are you back? Okay, Margie. Let's see. You said Robert Frost about the snow. Maybe stopping by woods on a snowy evening. And what's up, Austin? Good to see you too, man. Those are books that are. I don't know if I can find excerpts from them. If it's a poem, usually it'll be somewhere I can find. But if it's a book, especially if it's still under copyright, it's like you have to buy the book a lot of the time. And I don't own either one of those actually. But I've heard a lot of people mention those two. Oh, so if you saw my Pride and Redneck Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice thing, then uh, I just recorded the first 2 chapters of Pride and Prejudice in a Southern accent, and it's on my YouTube. So that's where the YouTube is going to be. So I just sort of do a live, and I'll edit it up as well and put it um, in an edited format. But the live reading of it is already on YouTube. So if Pride and Prejudice in a thick Southern accent and Mrs. Bennet, my dear, how can you be so tiresome? That stuff. Then YouTube is where you want to check. Um, okay, let me go back here. Uh, Stopping with woods on a snowy evening. Okay. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sound's the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Hmm. Alden, The Soul's Captain by Orson. Interesting. Okay. I don't think I've read that one. I will definitely check that out. Let me see. So on this thing, I have YouTube and TikTok at the same time doing a live, and then okay. Langston Hughes. Anything in particular? My favorite Langston Hughes is uh, Daybreak in Alabama. So if you don't have a particular one, that's what I'm going to read you. Um, let's see. Uh, KDB, I appreciate that. I've heard several people mention that, and I've never really read his stuff, so I will take your word for it. I appreciate that. And Austin, thank you. The Road Not Taken, Cody. Okay. caught up on these real quick. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Uh, to a certain civilian by Walt Whitman. Let's see how long this one is. Okay. To a certain civilian by Walt Whitman. Do you ask dulcet rhymes from me? Do you seek the civilian's peaceful and languishing rhymes? Did you find what I sang erewhile so hard to follow? Why I was not singing erewhile for you to follow, to understand, nor am I now. I have been born of the same as the war was born. The drum corps harsh rattle is to me sweet music. I love well the martial dirge, with slow wail and convulsive throb, leading the officer's funeral. What to say, what to such as you, anyhow, such a poet as I? Therefore, leave my works and go lull yourself with what you can understand and with piano tunes. For I lull nobody, and you will never understand me. To a certain civilian, Walt Whitman. You bet, Cody. Thank you, Glenda. I appreciate that. Uh, Gwen, Pablo Neruda. Okay. All right. That'll go on the list there. Let's see. The Soul's Captain. Let's see. Um, okay, so we'll read both. We'll read Invictus by William Ernest Henley, and then the Soul's Captain by Orson Whitney. Okay, so Invictus. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Okay, so like any great poets, you answer each other through the centuries. So here's Soul's Captain by Orson F. Whitney, an answer to Invictus. Art thou in truth? Then what of him who bought thee with his blood, who plunged into devouring seas and snatched thee from the flood, who bore for all our fallen race what none but him could bear, the God who died that man might live and endless glory share? Of what avail thy vaunted strength apart from his vast might? Pray that his light may pierce the gloom, that thou mayest see aright. Men are as bubbles on the wave, as leaves upon the tree. Thou, captain of my soul, forsooth, who gave that place to thee? Free will is thine free agency, to wield for right or wrong, but thou must answer unto him to whom all souls belong. Bend to the dust that head unbowed, small part of life's great whole, and see in him and him alone the captain of thy soul. Orson Whitney, the soul's captain. That's a pretty good answer. Very, it's a very thought-provoking answer. That reminds me of there's a passage at the end of book of First Peter, which, by the way, I just recorded it and put it on my YouTube and podcast. The whole letter, and at the end of chapter 4, it says, "Let them that suffer according to the will of God commit the keeping of their soul to Him in well doing." So he sounded like a First Peter kind of a guy. Good suggestion. Thank you for that. Um, okay, Langston Hughes. Uh, Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Dream Deferred, Langston Hughes. Um, yeah, Alden, I think that's great. That's a great suggestion, and I had not read that one. I love that response. I mean, that's great. Very good suggestion. Um, okay, what was where are we at? Um, sorry, I'm just absolutely terrible because I'll touch it and then I'll lose my spot. Snappy, absolutely, absolutely. Good. Langston Hughes, I really like his stuff. I just got a volume of his poetry, but it's not in here. It's inside, but I really like his. It's just simple, and I don't know. He just has a different take on stuff. Okay, Ozymandias. First, okay, Pablo Neruda. Gwen. Uh, what was that? Tonight I can write the saddest line. Okay. So here is, well, this is super long, but I'll read, not super long, but uh, I'll read a few sad lines. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. Write, for example, the night is starry and the stars are blue and shiver in the distance. The night wind revolves in the sky and sings. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. I loved her, and sometimes she loved me too. Through nights like this one, I held her in my arms. I kissed her again and again under the endless sky. She loved me. Sometimes I loved her too. How could one not have loved her great still eyes? Tonight I can write the saddest lines. To think that I do not have her. To feel that I have lost her. to hear the immense night still more immense without her, and the verse falls to the soul like dew to the pasture. What does it matter that my love could not keep her? The night is starry, and she is not with me. So that's a pretty. You have a general idea of the of where that's going. It's just sort of. It's a real downer. I'm just kidding. Uh, but yeah, that is tonight. I can write the saddest lines, Pablo Neruda. Um, uh, Michelle W. The absolute favorite is sweet. I'm glad we were able to hit the old favorites. Ozymandias, we could do that. Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculpture well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." Marty, I'm reading a few different books as always. I usually have several going, but one is "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee" by Dee Brown. Um, whoa. So I've been. I mean, it's a sad book, but it's a good book. It's a lot in it. It's good. Uh, Christina, I the new to your lives. Well, welcome. And it depends. I kind of like to see them first, just because I've had some people like, you know, you just never know what people are gonna say. But I mean, I would have no objection to that at all. And I do read others' work too. So yeah, I just sort of I like I just like connecting with poets and whatnot that like that stuff like that. Okay, The Highwayman. Gwen, that sounds like a nice time. Okay, so the Highwayman is that was pretty long, and I will definitely let me read the first part of it. And I have read the whole thing, and it's on my I think it's on my YouTube, and I know it's on my podcast. So if you want to hear the whole thing, you could go to my, link in my bio. It'll be on one of those. The Highwayman. And also the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Who asked for that? Um, Hi, Paula B. I didn't see your comment till just now. Uh, okay, I'll read the first little part. The Highwayman. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, and the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. He'd a French cocked hat on his forehead, a bunch of lace at his chin, a coat of the claret velvet, and breeches of brown doe skin. They fitted with never a wrinkle. His boots were up to the thigh. He rode with a jeweled twinkle, his pistol butts a twinkle, his rapier hilt a twinkle, under the jeweled sky. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the dark inn yard. He tapped with his whip on the shutters, but all was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. So that's the first little bit. Yeah, I've got the Highwayman and the Lady of Shalott on my podcast, and the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, which is also really long, or it's like 10 minutes long or something. Same as Lady of Shalott. Micah chapter 4, where he talks about swords to plowshares. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Oh, let's see. I'm doing a year of, last one was challenged to write poetry. That's super cool. That's super cool. Can you email me? Email me one. Let me just take a look at it. Who wrote The Abandoned Farmhouse? And my email is like Jake Phillips. It's the same as this, Jake Phillips 116 at Gmail. Um, let's see. Second Coming by Yeats is great. Soliloquy of the Spanish Cloister. Who wrote that? I'm not familiar with that either. Birches by Robert Frost. I could do that. Yeah, it's a definitely Highwayman's definitely a cool poem. Definitely one of those terribly romantic kind of things. Okay. When I see birches bend to the left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think some boy has been swinging them. Um, Alden, my favorite is probably John Keats' Ode to a Nightingale. I think that's my favorite poem. Um, but swinging doesn't bend them down to stay as ice storms do. Often you must have seen them loaded with ice, a sunny winter morning after a rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many-colored as the stir cracks and crazes their enamel. Soon the sun's warmths make them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to sweep away, you'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. They are dragged to the withered bracken by the load, and they seem not to break, though once they are bowed so low for long, they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods years afterwards, trailing their leaves on the ground, like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. What I was going to say when Truth broke in with all her matter of fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have some boy bend them as he went out and in to fetch the cows. Some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. One by one, he subdued his father's trees by riding them down over and over again until he took the stiffness out of them. And not one but hung limp. Not one was left for him to conquer. He learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon and not carrying the tree away clear to the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you use to fill a cup up to the brim and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first, with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So was I once myself, a swinger of birches. And so I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm weary of considerations, and life is too much like a pathless wood where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping from a twig's having lashed across it open. I'd like to get away from earth for a while and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me and half grant that I wish and snatch me away not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk toward heaven till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. It's Birches by Robert Frost. Whoops. Let's see. Okay. Let's do The Second Coming by Yeats. Okay. I like to read it out of a book if I can. I happen to have this one on the floor. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the sinner cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of spiritus mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born? Interesting. William Butler Yeats, The Second Coming. All right, let's see. Abandoned farmhouse. Let me see if I can look that up. Okay, Abandoned Farmhouse by Ted Kuser. Kuser, something. He was a big man, says the size of his shoes on a pile of broken dishes by the house. A tall man, too, says the length of the bed in an upstairs room. And a good, God-fearing man, says the Bible with a broken back on the floor below the window, dusty with sun. But not a man for farming, say the fields, cluttered with boulders and the leaky barn. A woman lived with him, says the bedroom wall, papered with lilacs, and the kitchen shelves covered with oilcloth. And they had a child, says the sandbox made from a tractor tire. Money was scarce, say the jars of plum preserves and canned tomatoes sealed in the cellar hole. And the winter's cold, say the rags in the window frames. It was lonely here, says the narrow country road. Something went wrong, says the empty house in the weed-choked yard. Stones in the fields say he was not a farmer. The still sealed jars in the cellar say she left in a nervous haste. And the child? Its toys are strewn in the yard like branches after a storm. A rubber cow, a rusty tractor with a broken plow, a doll in overalls. Something went wrong, they say. Abandoned farmhouse, Ted Kooser. So the low. The soliloquy of the Spanish cloister, that's a little bit long, but I probably will do. Um, I'll probably look over it. There's a lot of. Um, I might record that one for my YouTube or something because that's a. I like Robert Browning. Um, oh, okay. Blue Jeep. Lake Isle of Innisfree. Let me see. Lake Isle of Innisfree. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of linnets' wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or on the pavements gray. I hear it in the deep heart's core. Let us see. You're welcome. You're welcome, Blue Jeep. Um, Raquel, what is going on? Read On Love by Khalil Gibran. Uh, that one's kind of long too. We'll try it. We'll try it. Okay. On Love by Khalil Gibran. Then said El Mitra, "Speak to us of love." And he raised his head and looked upon the people, and there fell a stillness upon them. And with a great voice he said, "When love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep. And when his wings enfold you, yield to him, though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him, though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so is he for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husks. He grinds you to whiteness. He kneads you until you are pliant. And then he assigns you to his sacred fire, that he may become sacred bread, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all of your laughter, and weep, but not all of your tears. Love gives not but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather, I am in the heart of God. And think not you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires: to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melancholy to the night, to know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and to bleed willingly and joyfully, to wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving, to rest at the noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy, to return home at eventide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips. Uh, on Love by Khalil Gibran. David, what's going on? Hey, Ashton. Let's see. Excuse me. Okay, here's one. Kim Adonisio. I don't even know how to say it. Read anything by Kim Adonisio. How do you say that? Anybody know? Because on my podcast, I mostly am doing public domain stuff, so I don't read as much uh, like contemporary poetry. So a lot of times I do stuff like this. But this is called Eating Together, and let's see how this goes. I know my friend is going, though she still sits there across from me in the restaurant and leans over the table to dip her bread in the oil on my plate. I know how thick her hair used to be, and what it takes for her to discard her man's cap partway through our meal, to look straight at the young waiter and smile when he asks how we are liking it. She eats as though starving: chicken, dolmata, and buttery flakes of phyllo, I don't know. And what's killing her eats too. I watch her lift a glistening black olive and peel the meat from the pit, watch her fine long fingers and her face puffy from medication. She lowers her eyes to the food, pretending not to know what I know. She's going, and we go on eating together. If I ever get a schedule of my lives, I'll send it to you, David. The I've had a I've had a lot of travel and stuff like that, but normally it's going to be um, Monday nights. I'm going to try it, like, for sure, and then we'll see after that. Like, but I'll probably do more, but Monday night for sure is what I'm shooting for. Alden, can you read a poem about hope for the future, hope amidst trials? Yes, I think this is my favorite one. Short and Sweet by Emily Dickinson, and it's called Hope. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. So hope is the thing with feathers. Um, Raquel, you're very welcome. Good, um, great suggestion. Virginia Woolf. One of my uh, who read it? I think it's Natalie Dormer. I think narrates A Room of Her Own by I think it's Virginia Woolf. That's a great narration. Um, yeah, Dixon. She was so her stuff. A lot of it is really simple, and I really like that one. It's really sweet, straightforward. Um, mm, let's see. Let me. Let's find. If I have missed your comment, my apologies. I'm all over the place. Every time I touch that thing, it spins like a little slot machine. I don't play slot machines, but I've seen them depicted in westerns. White in the Moon. Uh, okay. White in the Moon, The Long Road Lies by Alfred Edward Houseman. White in the moon, the long road lies. The moon stands blank above. White in the moon, the long road lies that leads me from my love. Still hangs the hedge without a gust. Still, still the shadows stay. My feet upon the moonlit dust pursue the ceaseless way. The world is round, so travelers tell, and straight, though reach the track. Trudge on, 'twill all be all. The way will guide one back. But ere the circle homeward hies, far, far must it remove. White in the moon, the long road lies that leads me from my love. There you go, Kat. Okay, let's see what else we got. Um, Christina, I don't know that particular one. Kat, you're very welcome. Benjamin, um, I haven't done if tonight. Let's definitely. What's going on, Mom? Mom with an English degree. That's awesome. Uh, Great to see you tonight as well. Uh, Keats, I always like some Keats and something funny by Mark Twain. Okay, so the the we can do that. Also, I love Mark Twain, and I like some of his short stories that I couldn't find anywhere. I couldn't find them on Audible, couldn't find them on YouTube, nowhere. So I just said, well, I'll just record them myself, put them on uh, YouTube. So I've got and my podcast, some of them. Gloves, buying gloves in Gibraltar. I have that short story. I have journalism in Tennessee on YouTube. I have the celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. That's the first one that sort of to catapulted his career. So if you like Mark Twain short stories, definitely check out my YouTube. And you'll find several on there. And I will be adding more. I love his stuff. Okay, let's do If. If by Rudyard Kipling. And then Alden, The Light of the Stars by Henry Longfellow. Okay, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can, where'd I go? Where'd I go? If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build 'em up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. If Rudyard Kipling. Let's see, Alden, thank you for reading. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you find it enjoyable. Okay, The Light of Stars by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. All right, The Light of Stars by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The night is come, but not too soon, and sinking silently, all silently, the little moon drops down behind the sky. There is no light in earth or heaven but the cold light of stars, and the first watch of night is given to the red planet Mars. Is is it the tender star of love, the star of love and dreams? Oh no, from that blue tint above, a hero's armor gleams. And earnest thoughts within me rise when I behold afar, suspended in the evening skies, the shield of that red star. O star of strength, I see thee stand and smile upon my pain. Thou beckonest with thy mailed hand, and I am strong again. Within my breast there is no light but the cold light of stars. I give the first watch of the night to the red planet Mars. The star of the unconquered will, he rises in my breast, serene and resolute and still and calm and self-possessed. And thou too, wheresoever thou art, that readest this brief psalm, As one by one thy hopes depart, be resolute and calm. O fear not in a world like this, and thou shalt know ere long, know how sublime a thing it is to suffer and be strong. Good one. The Light of Stars by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Uh, David, you had mentioned Keats, and while we're on the subject of stars, Bright Star by John Keats. Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor, hung aloft the night, and watching with eternal lids apart, like nature's patient, sleepless eremite, the moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast, to feel forever its soft fall and swell, awake forever in a sweet unrest, still, still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live forever, or else swoon to death. John Keats, Bright Star. Stormy seas, what's going on? We have had frost. We've had a good bit of frost actually, but can you have too much? I don't know that you can. What are you thinking? Bernie, what's going on? Good to see you. Humming heart or humming hive art. Better than an ASMR. Thank you, because I can't stand those things. Some of them, the ones where they're like making what I consider to be uh, gratuitous noise, where they're like clicking fingernails on. Oh gosh, if you're going to be quiet, that's fine. Sort of like that's one thing. But when it's, I don't know, some ASMR I absolutely loathe. But I'm glad you enjoy this. Let's, Alden, let's see. Moon and star. Okay. Ah, moon and star. Emily Dickinson. Ah, moon and star, you are very far, but were no one farther than you, do you think I'd stop for a firmament or a cubit or so? I could borrow a bonnet of the lark and a chamois silver boot and a stirrup of an antelope and be with you tonight. But moon and star, though you're very far, there is one farther than you. He is more than a firmament from me, so I can never go. Ah, Moon and Stars by Dickinson. Good one. Good one, Alden. Becca, good deal. I'm really glad to hear that. That's that's why I like to do it, and to meet other people, be introduced to new poems, all that kind of stuff. Uh, okay, let me see. Let's see. Okay, so while we're on Emily Dickinson, Christina, here we go. The saddest noise, the sweetest noise, the maddest noise that grows. The birds, they make it in the spring at night's delicious close. Between the March and April line, that magical frontier beyond which summer hesitates, almost too heavenly near, it makes us think of all the dead that sauntered with us here, by separation's sorcery made cruelly more dear. It makes us think of what we had, and what we now deplore. We almost wish those siren throats would go and sing no more. An ear can break a human heart as quickly as a spear, We wish the ear had not a heart so dangerously near. The saddest noise, the sweetest noise. Emily Dickinson. Good one. Um, Keats taken too soon? Absolutely. So, so sad. Road less traveled. We could do that'll kill two birds with one stone. Get Chris and Stormy. The road not taken, I think, is what you mean, right? Right. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thanks, Christina. I'm glad that you think so. Well, yeah, if you check out my podcast or YouTube if you want to hear more. I got a lot of stuff up there. Also, I mentioned this earlier. I am just you're welcome, Chris. Great suggestion. I've just started recording Pride and Prejudice in a Southern accent. I did my first two chapters earlier. They're on YouTube. For those of you that um, are interested, because a lot of people were, and I don't know, some people may be in here, some people may not be, but tons of people have been asking about it. So it's like, it's one of my favorite books. I love, um, I love Jane Austen. I read five of her novels. I haven't read Northanger Abbey. Um, Good deal. Yeah, you can check. I've got links to that kind of thing in my little link tree in my bio. Those winter Sundays, and this probably will be the last one of the evening. Um, let's see if I can find it. Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays, too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue black cold. Then, with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, made banked fires ablaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house, speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? Those Winter Sundays, Robert Hayden. I like that. Uh, Very cool. Very cool. We can do When You're Old for sure. Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, gonna be a bulldog. When is your, I don't know, with boy or girl, but when are they coming this way? When are they coming to state? Like next semester in the spring or next year in the fall? You are welcome, uh, Wham. You are very welcome. Okay, When You Are Old by William Butler Yeats. When you are old and gray and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. When You Were Old, William Butler Yeats. The song of, where did that go? Oh, Song of Wandering. Okay, I will look that one up. I will look that one up. I got a whole book of his stuff right here. It's probably in here. I haven't read the whole thing. I'll look for it. Coming next fall. Super cool. Very cool. Uh, Campus visits start next month. That's awesome. I used to be a road runner at Mississippi State when I was in school, so I liked showing prospective students around. That was always fun. Song of Wandering Angus. Okay, okay. Uh, Eldritch. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. Um, yeah, thank you. Let's see how long that one is. The, the song. Okay. Well, that one's not that long. Oh, we'll do this one. The Song of Wandering Angus. I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing, and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream and caught a little silver trout. When I laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name and ran and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she is gone, and kiss her lips and take her hands, and walk among long dappled grass, and pluck till time and times are done, the silver apples of the moon and golden apples of the sun. The Song of Wandering Angus. the Yeah, if she ends up, David, have a good night. If she ends up there, uh, yeah, for sure. Where else is she looking at? Um, oh, that's really cool. Favorite poem read at his funeral. Very cool. Christina, if you will send me a message, if you're still on here, send me a message and or anybody that is a writer or something, you know, that wants to bring their work into a group like this and sort of share it. Because I mean, this is a good group. I think if anybody shares original work, anytime anyone's ever shared original work, um, everybody's always supportive, which I think is that's what you need. I think criticism is for very small groups, and everyone is in agreement that we're going to be critical of each other, and we love each other, and this is constructive criticism. But that's not really what this is for. This is just to enjoy good writing, be it classic or contemporary. And so, but yeah, if Christina or anyone else, if you have original writings, shoot me a message. Maybe we can sort of um, figure out a time, where we'll share it on a live or something. Um, yeah, and I think if anybody was being a little turd, I think there are enough people in here that would be like, beat it. Ole Miss, South Alabama, Tulane, Hawaii. Okay, very cool, very cool. It's like a bunch of them right around here, and then one far, far away. Blue Jeep. Well, like I was saying earlier, I've got a lot of Mark Twain stuff that's on my YouTube, but most of the stuff that I have it's a little long for this kind of thing because they're 10 and 15 minutes long. But I love Mark Twain, and is he's awesome. Okay, let's see where was Jason? I've Windhover, Gerard Manley Hopkins. Let's see. Okay. I caught this morning's minion kingdom of daylight's dolphin, dappled dawn drawn falcon, in his riding of the rolling level underneath him's steady air, and striding high there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing in his ecstasy, then off forth on swing, as a skate's heel sweeps smooth on a bow bend. The hurl and gliding rebuffed the big wind. My heart in hiding stirred for a bird, the achieve of the mastery of the thing. Brute beauty and valor and act, air, pride, plume here, buckle, and the fire that breaks from thee, then a billion times told lovelier, more dangerous. O my chevalier! No wonder of it. Sheer plod makes plough down Sicilian shine, and blue bleak embers, ah, my dear, fall gall themselves and gash gold vermilion. What the crap did you just have me read, Jason? I did not catch any of that. Let's joke. I mean, I really didn't catch any of that, but it's okay. I'm just kidding. I always like being introduced to new stuff. Mom, good night. Have a good one. Thank you for swinging by. St. Andrews in Scotland. It's a bird. Okay. All right. Yeah, Gerard Manley Hopkins, he has a very curious writing style. He doesn't, he regards not God nor man nor punctuation, kind of like E. E. Cummings. Uh, but that's the kind that, like, um, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like reading cold stuff a lot of the time because I'm sure that's a great poem, but I can't bring out the greatness of it if I have no, like, if I don't know which way to turn it, set it here, set it there. So I like to read it on my own before sort of bringing it in here, but it doesn't always do that. I can't, you know, can't always understand everything. I heard on the podcast your interest in local legend. No, I don't. I don't think so. What is that, Bernie? Okay. All right. Pat Conroy's The Prince of the Tides. Is that a poem? Shakespeare's Sonnet 106. If it's a book, I don't have that book, so I probably can't. 'Cause unless it's public domain, it's not going to be most likely just on the internet. All right, let's try this one. Um, okay. Sonnet 106. When in the chronicle of wasted time. When in the chronicle of wasted time, I see description of the fairest whites, and beauty making beautiful old rhyme in praise of ladies dead and lovely knights. Then in the blazon of sweet beauty's best, of hand, of foot, of lip, of eye, of brow, I see their antique pen would have expressed even such a beauty as you master now. So all their praises are but prophecies of this our time, all you prefiguring. And for they looked but with divining eyes, they had not skill enough your worth to sing. For we, which now behold these present days, have eyes to wander, but lack tongues to praise. Sonnet 106. Um, the what do you call it? In Detroit? No, I haven't. Uh, what is like? That's fascinating. What is it? Is it like French and Indian War era, like from then until now, or is it like has it been recent? You know what I mean? What is details, man, details. Christina, are you still in here by any chance? Uh, Sylvia Plath, yeah, very interesting, very great descriptions of like scenes. Like reading some of her stuff is like looking at a painting. Like she's really good. Um, mm, let's see, Band Aid, Shel Silverstein. We actually read When the Sidewalk Ends a little bit ago. Um, let's find one. Hmm. Oh, let's see. Sorry, Ellen, I missed your thing there. Um, good. I'm glad that she enjoyed that. I do record books. Mostly, I do commercial voiceovers. Is generally how I make my living, but I do audiobooks, and then I have a literature podcast and stuff like that, which I kind of use for practice. And then I do stuff like this. I meet other people, and then more practice. Um, see, okay, we had a Shel Silverstein. Mm, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, here's a short one. Invitation. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. Invitation by Shel Silverstein. Uh, oh, very good. That was very serendipitous then. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. Okay, let's see. Jubez. Am I saying that right? Jubez? Thank you. I love Coke. Uh, yeah, sorry, I get mixed up on, like I say, I'm always mixed up on the requests here. Uh, I get the I get all scatterbrained. I'm kind of like the little dog in Up. That squirrel. Um, okay, here's a request from Alden, "The Summer Rain" by um, Henry David Thoreau. My chickens are doing good. They're doing good. I I had a couple of midnight run-ins with various and sundry predators, and I dealt with the predators, and my chickens have been good. The Summer Rain. My books I'd fain cast off. I cannot read. Twixt every page my thoughts go stray at large, down in the meadow, where is richer feed, and will not mind to hit their proper target. Plutarch was good, and so was Homer too. Our Shakespeare's life were rich to live again. What Plutarch read, that was not good nor true, nor Shakespeare's books, unless his books were men. Here where I lie beneath this walnut bough, what care I for the Greeks or for Troy town, if juster battles are enacted now between the ants upon this hummock's crown? Bid Homer wait till I the issue learn, if red or black the gods will favor most, or yonder Ajax will the phalanx turn, struggling to heave some rocks against the host. Tell Shakespeare to attend some leisure hour, For now I've business with this drop of dew, and see you not the clouds prepare a shower? I'll meet him shortly when the sky is blue. This bed of herd's grass and wild oats was spread. Last year was nicer skill than monarchs use. A clover tuft is pillow for my head, and violets quite overtop my shoes. And now the cordial clouds have shut all in, and gently swells the wind to say all's well. The scattered drops are falling fast and thin, some in the pool, some in the flower bell. I am drenched upon my bed of oats, but see that globe come rolling down its stern, now like a lonely planet where it floats, and now it sinks into my garment's hem. Drip, drip the trees for all the country round, and richness rare distills from every bough. The wind alone, it makes every sound, shaking down crystals on the leaves below. For shame the sun will never show himself, who could not with his beams e'er melt me so. My dripping locks, they could become an elf, who in a bearded coat does gaily go. The Summer Rain by Henry David Thoreau. Nain Rouge is an impish red demon. Interesting. And how do you have any idea how old it is? Oh, thanks. Thanks, Easy. I do a lot of voice work for them, voiceovers for them. Amanda, good night. If you're probably gone, but a very good night to you. Thanks for coming by. Oh, Allison, are you are you still here? I just saw your comment. You still in here? I like John Clare. Just posted a poem of his actually to my YouTube. And again, this is kind of a come and go affair, so I don't know who I've told already. But if you like redneck Jane Austen, check my YouTube. I did the first 2 chapters earlier today, and I will, if there's enough people that are kind of enjoying it, if 5 people comment on it and are like, "Hey, I like this. This is fun," then I'll keep going because I love Jane Austen, and I think it's fun to do Jane Austen in a redneck accent. It's fun to me. And Mrs. Bennet is my favorite. She's so sassy. Okay, an invite. So if you check it out, make sure you comment on it and say like, "This was, I like this. Keep going." And if I keep getting, if folks like it, I'll keep doing it. And then when I'm all done, I can stick it together. Alden, have a great night. Thanks for coming by. The great suggestions. Appreciate that. Y'all be good. And Stormy, yeah, it doesn't take much to keep me going. I mean, this is the kind of thing that it's like, I like it. So if I don't need much encouragement. I need a little encouragement. Like, 5 comments, something like that. Yeah, tell your girlies, and I'll keep doing them. I'll keep posting them like 2 chapters at a time because the chapters are pretty short. I think there's 61 or something. JB, glad you're here. Okay, Allison. An Invite to Eternity by John Clare. Wilt thou go with me, sweet maid? Say, maiden, wilt thou go with me through the valley depths of shade, of night and dark obscurity, where the path has lost its way, where the sun forgets the day, where there's nor life nor light to see, sweet maiden, wilt thou go with me? I think my phone just had a little notification about low battery. Sweet maiden, wilt thou go with me? Where stones will turn to flooding streams, where plains will rise like ocean waves, where life will fade like vision dreams, and mountains darken into caves. Say, maiden, wilt thou go with me through this sad non identity where parents live and are forgot, and sisters live and know us not? Say, maiden, wilt thou go with me in this strange death of life to be, to live in death and be the same without this life or home or name? At once to be and not to be, that was and is not, yet to see. Things pass like shadows, and the sky above, below, around us lie. The land of shadows wilt thou trace, and look, nor know each other's face. The present mixed with reasons gone, and past and present all as one. Say, maiden, can thy life be led to join the living to the dead? Then trace thy footsteps on with me. We're wed to one eternity. An Invite to Eternity by John Clare. By Wordsworth. Okay. Uh, Jubez. Jubes. Jubes? I don't know. Splendor in the Grass. William Wordsworth. Uh, what though the radiance which was once so bright be now forever taken from my sight? Though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, of glory in the flower, we will, will, sorry, we will not we will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains, in the primal sympathy, which having been must ever be, in the soothing thoughts that spring out of human suffering, in the faith that looks through death, in years that bring the philosophic mind. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Splendor in the Grass. Um, Type it in my next one. Uh, they said they were when the French settlers. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Jubies. Jubies. Two little word. Jubies. Uh, Tracy, thank you. I am glad. I like reading, so I like it when people enjoy it. Okay. The is it Jason? I think you said, Allison, you're very welcome. Glad, glad you suggested that. Let's see. The Sun Rising, John Donne. Busy old fool, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to thy motions lovers' seasons run? Saucy, pedantic wretch, go chide late schoolboys and sour prentices. Tell court huntsmen that the king will ride. Call country ants to harvest offices. Love all alike, no season knows, nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. Thy beams, so reverend and strong, why shouldest thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink? But that I would not lose her sight so long, if her eyes have not blinded thine. Look, and tomorrow late tell me, whether both the Indias of spice and mine be where thou leftest them, or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and shalt thou hear, all here in one bed lay. She's all states and all princes, I nothing else is. Princes do but play us compared to this. All honors mimic, all wealth alchemy. Thou, son, art half as happy as we, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine age asks ease, and since thy duties be to to warm the world, that's done in warming us. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy sphere. The Sun Rising, John Donne. Uh, Strong. I'm a book talker. I have peoples. Nice. Well, yeah, get those peoples into the old YouTube. Just give me this much encouragement. Be the fuel that keeps me going, the hydration pack to keep me on the trail of the adventure race, so to speak. And I will continue. The um, yeah, so like Stormy Seas was saying, I've started Redneck Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice on my YouTube. So link in the bio. If you go comment, if I get a few comments, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep posting. Then if I finish, then I'll stick it all on, make one post out of it, right? Audiobook type of deal. But I already put up the first two chapters. Anyway, The Inevitable by Emily Dickinson. While I was fearing it, it came, but came with less of fear because that fearing it so long had almost made it dear. There is a fitting, a dismay, a fitting, a despair. 'Tis harder knowing it is due than knowing it is here. The trying on the utmost, the morning it is new, is terribler than wearing it a whole existence through. The Inevitable, Emily Dickinson. My son's teacher is using your recordings of the Bible. Super cool. That's super cool. I'm really glad to hear that. Wicked Witch, I appreciate that. I really do. I love that. Love, it's always a pleasure to have you in here. 21 gardeners. That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay, let's see if I can find Sacred Family. I think I said I was reading my last one 39 minutes ago. Y'all are hard to get away from. Mm, can't find that one. Who put a clock in the booth? What do you mean? I got clocks everywhere. I got one in my brain. I got one on my wrist. I got one on my computer, my phone, my other computer. I got clocks everywhere. Sacred Emily. Okay, then let's try again. I can tell what time it is by how hot this little room gets. I'll tell you that. I'm looking forward to fall. That way I can, you know, um, I don't know, when it's cold, I can, I'm good. Oh, this is a super long one. I think that one's a little long for this reading. The maybe sometime on an earlier, like if you catch me early, because the I've been trying to wrap it up, but yeah, that would, I don't know. I never can tell exactly, but I would say that's a good 10, 15 minutes right there. That's a long one for this kind of thing. Uh, are you able to keep a list? Well, I've started to record the lives on YouTube. So like make a YouTube live, and that way, because TikTok live, when it's done, like it's, it goes away. On YouTube, it'll actually go into as a post, and so you know you can watch it afterwards. So in that way, I do keep a list as far as it goes on YouTube. Juby's absolutely. I'm really glad that you came. Hope you have a great night's sleep. I hope you get some rest. Hope you get 100% better. Um, yeah, thank you all. I think I'm gonna probably head on out. Um, but yeah, check my YouTube, my podcast. If you like Redneck Jane Austen, I've started to do Pride and Prejudice. Uh, yeah. So thank you all for the participation. It's always a lot of fun, and we'll talk to y'all very soon. All right, good to see y'all over on YouTube. All right. Well, I am wrapping this up. Have a good night.